never got used to running, but my heart is always gunning, and I guess that's just the way that I was made. Some will say I'm cold.
Warning. I chain smoke and I say fuck a lot. But I accept myself for the way I am. I accept you too. Viewer discretion advised. In March and April of 2023, Celia Farber, author of Serious Adverse Events and Uncensored History of AIDS, helped co-host and produce a couple episodes of John B. Wells' Caravan to Midnight. And in 2 of these episodes, I'll leave links. She featured Dr. David Rasnick and Dr. William Trebing, author of Goodbye Germ Theory. So I just wanted to share some clips from them.
I've used words like phantoms and spectral viruses and Frankenstein viruses, and it's very important what words we use, because just as the right word put us into the terror, the right word can take us out of it. And the ultimate, I guess you would say, battle or question or part of the battlefield right now is, my God, how did we ever get into germ theory and virus tyranny to begin with?
Well, thanks very much. That was a nice conversation we had earlier today, Celia. I did talk about how I've been doing this work for a while, and viral stories are ghost stories. All germ stories are really ghost stories. And how do they work? How do we get started on all this? Boy, that's an existential question. If
I was as conventional mainstream a scientist as you can be until 1985 in the AIDS stuff, and when my colleagues wouldn't talk to me about the problems with the contagious hypothesis of AIDS. That was very, very strange. And then I started looking into the whole nature of modern science. And I've come to the conclusion that science is dead. I saw it die in the 1980s, all right? Wow. But it was broken long before it died. What I did, I went back and I looked at all of these individuals, not all of them, but many individual so-called viral plagues like polio, whooping cough, and measles, and a whole host of other ones, all right? Did them one at a time, started with polio. And polio is not a viral disease at all. It's not caused by a virus. I found out it's probably caused by DDT, all that spraying of DDT, and probably lots of things were a consequence of DDT. There is no such thing as a polio virus. A virus that causes polio that does not exist.
Pesticides weren't always thought to be harmful. To the contrary. In 1947, Time magazine carried an advertisement claiming DDT was good for people, homes, and farms. It took 20 years before scientists realized how dangerous it was.
It begins with the war-born development of DDT. This diabolical weapon of modern science saved millions of humans, but killed billions of insects. Man, with this newly discovered force, has at long last gained the upper hand in our age-old struggle. Just like these mosquito larvae, it came from laboratories where top scientists from famous universities and from industrial and government organizations collaborated to develop something new and different. They succeeded. They perfected Pestroy, the most effective weapon man has ever wielded against insects. To begin with, this new pest killer is a DDT preparation. We realize what that means. Once a bug comes in contact with DDT, he's lost. All he has to do is just walk on any Pestroid-treated surface. DDT is absorbed through the feet and spreads throughout the insect's entire nervous system. The effect is disastrous. DDT seems to literally drive bugs crazy. But not for long. DDT next paralyzes, then kills.
So DDT would paralyze insects before killing them? Paralyze them, huh? Polio, it would paralyze kids. And maybe some adults, but mostly kids. Just like it would paralyze bugs.
Tons of DDT are used in this fight against the dread disease, whose principal target is the young. Again, war has contributed one of its discoveries to save life.
From 1945 to 1955, annual pesticide use on farms went from 125 million pounds to over 600 million. Soon government agencies began treating even the suburbs with DDT. Public health departments staged demonstrations to convince the public of DDT's effectiveness and safety. Enthusiasm for the chemical knew no bounds, and few were questioning the wisdom of such use. Public places and private backyards were being treated whether people liked it or not.
One so-called viral disease, one after the other, did the same thing. And the thing is that these things went away on their own, but they gave the credit to the vaccines, and the vaccines had no responsibility at all for the diminishing of any of these symptoms of people. So I've come to the conclusion over these decades now that I think it's very unlikely that a viral disease even exists. There's no evidence for them.
And this seems to be a pattern that happens over time. There have been many diseases that they tried to claim are infectious, when most of the time they were some kind of nutritional deficiency or even iatrogenic caused by medicine. And usually it takes many, many decades for them to find out the truth. Just to list a few: scurvy, beriberi, pellagra, and SMON, SMON. But there are many more.
The Africans at first were not very impressed. Some are afraid that the DDT will poison them, while others suspect some sort of witchcraft. The entomologist calls for a bowl of porridge. This is sprayed with the solution in full view of the audience. He now eats several spoonfuls of the mixture to show that the contaminated food is harmless. Even this fails to convince the audience. Arab Kipkoy is the chief spokesman and states his objections with eloquence. He says that the new medicine is a bad poison that may exterminate the whole tribe.
You know what that reminds me of? Kuru, which I've done videos about before. I highly suggest you check him out if you haven't seen him, about Carlton Gajdashik, the convicted and proud pedophile that claimed Kuru was caused by cannibalism and it was infectious. But he didn't really prove that. And since Kuru seemed to have polio-like symptoms, I wondered if they were spraying something in Papua New Guinea. Turns out they were. Here's a map from Papua New Guinea where it claims that Australian troops were spraying DDT, and it's not too far off from where the South 4 tribe was, where Kuru was, quote, discovered. So it could have been.
The basis of the germ theory, if you try to stray from it, or if you try to challenge it, or try to say that it's invalid in any way, shape, or form, you will be vehemently attacked. Why do they do that? They do that because they need it. It is a primary focus of fear, because without the germ theory and without the viral ghost story, you might actually sit back and take responsibility for your own health.
How did we get here? How is it possible?
Well, let me toss this into the mix real quick.
I can answer that really quick.
Do it.
Okay.
It was very productive financially. I mean, look at it, you know.
Absolutely. What about AZT and remdesivir then? AZT for AIDS, remdesivir to rescue people who have been stricken with COVID. How does that? I mean, what is this, so to speak?
That's just a way to kill people quicker than if you just let them die of AIDS. You know, I mean, seriously, AZT, a nucleoside analog. Peter Duisberg ordered a bottle of AZT from Sigma Chemical. It comes with skull and crossbones on it, on the label, right? Now, of course, the same material that they injected into gay men, the HIV positive gay men mostly, came in a nice, pleasant white and blue labeled thing with no red skull and crossbones on it. But if you're a scientist, it says be careful. If you come in contact with it, make sure you clean yourself. You don't want to inhale it. You don't want to take it inside at all or whatever. Go see a doctor or something if you're exposed to it. And yet they gave that same deadly material to these gay men, and they were given, I think they started 1.5 grams a day there back in the late 80s. And John Lauritsen, as I recall, he estimated that around AZT probably killed 330,000 gay men in the late 80s, early 90s. And remdesivir is just AZT by another name, basically. They're different molecules. They're different molecules, but they're poisons, and they're killing people. When you're actually giving poisons to people instead of, what would I call it? I guess it's insanity for sure, or evil wickedness, but it's nonsense. And any scientist would know that this is nuts.
To pull back a little bit, what happened big picture is that the medical industrial complex, which is really the military industrial complex, they took the war mentality, terrorist attacker, enemy, and they imposed that on, I can't even call them entities, I don't know what to call them, these things that they called viruses, and they launched us into the era of virus terror. And there was polio, which we talked about a little bit. I don't know that much about, but I think AIDS is where it really, the big explosion, where people believe that there's an infectious virus going around. Again, Fauci said at one point you could get it from a salad leaf or a toilet seat or by interacting with your family at home. So this really was, to use Dave's words, it was insanity. But the poisons, on the other hand, were treated as saviors, life-saving drugs.
The bottom line is that these measures, these propaganda measures, scare people into poisoning themselves.
This is terrible. It really is, and that's really the only word for it. Just profit-driven terror. And of course, the side benefit for those who are perpetrating this is global control.
Fucking stoned.
I got